Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel IT Audit with Deborah Jeremy. Here I'll be sharing tips, tricks and insights to help you navigate the IT world as an IT auditor. So if you would like to level up, subscribe, like and share with your friends, and let's dive into what we have for today. Hello everyone, welcome to part 2. So part 1 was my journey to becoming an IT auditor, and if you haven't watched, click the link above and you can subscribe and also drop your comment if you have any comments or you can relate with like my experience. So basically today I'll be talking about like my first IT audit as an IT auditor. So what was this audit about? So I assigned like some applications, desktop applications, mobile applications to audit. And of course, I also had like a body. So the body was like a more experienced staff. So this body like guided me through like things I needed to do and all of that. So let's just take like a desktop software as an example, the desktop application. So let's call it Debbie software. So now what did I do with Debbie software as an IT auditor? So the first thing was for me to like understand the team that was using the Debbie software. So how did I know the team using the Debbie software? So for every organization, like a structured organization, there are like maybe an IT team or information security team that grants access to software, Active Directory and all of those things. So I met the team in charge of granting access to users in the organization, just for me to know, okay, who are the team using these Debbie's desktop software. So of course, based on the number of users they've granted access to, they were able to tell me like the core team using the desktop software. So I reached out to this team via email to like schedule like a walkthrough meeting with them. So so I went on site, of course, because then there wasn't COVID. So I went on site to like discuss about the system. Okay, so during the walkthrough, I asked them, if they have like a standard operating procedure or like a standard document that guides like their inputs into the Debbie software. Then basically I tell them to like show me how they use the software. You try to sign in, let me see how you sign in. At that point you kind of understand some things like, do they need MFA, password requirement, is it strong, but that's not like the looking out for at that moment. For now, you're still trying to like understand their process, like how they use the particular software basically. So during the walkthrough, I tried to like see how they use the software. So and then I got like their standard document that guides their inputs into the system. So let's assume this software is used for IT training. So there is software is used for IT training. So the team will most likely input like the name of maybe my customers that sign up for training, the date of birth, the age, maybe occupation, maybe the courses they signed up for, the amount they paid. So basically those are like the inputs into my Debbie's IT training software. So and then the standard document will probably be like a document that shows that, okay, for a customer that maybe paid £500 or 500 whatever the currency, they should get maybe 5 courses. For a customer that maybe paid £1,000, they should get 10 courses. So basically those are the things you try to like understand during the walkthrough. So you try to understand what they use the system for. Basically you try to see if there's any standard document that guides their inputs, because that will also help you as an auditor to understand what they were required to like use the system for. So after getting like enough information from like the core users of the system, so you might have more than one core team using the system. So you might need to meet like 2 to 3 depending on like the time you have, the time scales for completing the audit basically. So you might need to meet more than one team if you have like so many people using it as a core like application. So once you understand like the system, like what the system is used for from like a user's perspective, like what I did then was that I also met with the IT team. So the IT team has a better understanding of like the system, the technical aspect of the system basically. So for debit software, you need to ask the IT team, okay, so what operating system does this software sit on? What database does it use? So like operating system can be maybe Windows or Linux, database, Windows, SQL, all of. So you just need to ask the IT team because they are the ones that configure the servers and all of that. So they have like that kind of information to give you. So once you have like a knowledge of the operating system and database, so then I was an internal auditor, so I got like direct access to these systems, to the server and the database. But I don't know if how feasible it is for maybe an external auditor to get direct access. So it all depends on the kind of engagement with the organization. But as an internal auditor, I was able to get like direct access to the server and the database. So before the next thing, I so as part of the audit, so I also requested for like the architectural diagram of this desktop software. So you might not really understand the architectural diagram as a new IT auditor, but what you can do is also you can still have like a walkthrough with the IT team to let them explain the architectural diagram so that you understand how the software like connects with like other systems, the interconnection with other systems in the organization basically. So you can carry out walkthrough with like the core users, the IT team, and anyone that will like just help you understand the system, because you need the understanding of the system to like audit the system properly. So the next thing is to like do the actual audits. So let's start from the operating system. So there's something called CIS benchmark, that's Center for Internet Security. So this CIS benchmark, they are like configuration baselines. So it has, it's a Windows operating system. If you go to the CIS benchmark site, you will see different configuration baselines for like OS, servers, databases and all. So you can open up, so I'm just talking about now, but that was what I did then. So you can open up those information, then it kind of lists all of the things that like an operating system should have as like a minimum standard. So maybe in terms of access, in terms of version, antivirus, generic accounts and all of those things. So those configuration baselines are the things you now review. So since as an internal auditor, I had direct access to the server, so I review the actual server against what the CIS benchmark configuration baseline is. So if it says, okay, no generic accounts, I check the server, is there a generic account? If it says you should have antivirus, I check the server, is there an antivirus? If it says, there are different baselines anyway. So the aim is that you check the server against what the baseline should be, and then if there's any like non-conformity, then you note it as like an observation, an audit observation. So and then you do the same for the database. So you check the configuration baselines on like the CIS benchmarks, check that the organization's database is in line with what it should be, and then if you have any non-conformity, you identify it as like an observation. So now you can ask that, okay, so everything I've done from the walkthrough stage, what was like the importance? So one, the importance of that walkthrough is that it helps you understand the system you're auditing, and then also the information from the walkthrough, you can also, so like now the standard document, you can use it to like carry out data analytics. So you already have access to the database as an internal auditor, so you can pull the information in the database. So the database is where like all the information imputed into the desktop software is stored. So you can pull like a data of like 1 year, and then maybe check. So I said like now maybe a customer that paid £500 should get 5 courses, and a customer that paid £1,000 should get 10 courses. Then you can just pull the data from the database and check that okay, all customers that paid £500, did they actually get 5 courses, or did some of them get like 10 courses? So basically you just check for that kind of, check that the controls or the restrictions that were like maybe stated by the management was actually like effective. So that's what you do with the information from the walkthrough. It can help you carry out like your data analytics at the end of the day as an auditor. Maybe as a new auditor, so one might be thinking, okay, how do I check some of these, maybe configurations on the server or on the database? So maybe at the initial stage, of course, maybe the body assigned to me at that time was very useful. But if you don't have a body, you can most of this information are actually online. You can Google, you can use YouTube. So maybe the baseline says the server should have antivirus. You can just go on Google, how do I check antivirus on the server, or YouTube, how do I check antivirus on the server. Then once you know that once, the next time you don't have to Google again. So most times for some of those things, Google can be your friend, YouTube can be your friend, and then you take note of all of those things you've checked, so that in future you don't have to check all over again. And then of course I've not covered everything that you might need to check as an IT auditor, because I didn't go through the details of the things in the CIS benchmark. But once you have the CIS benchmark, you have like most of the information you need to check to like review the maybe server and the database. And then for the walkthrough part, you just you speaking with the users. And then okay, one thing I forgot to mention is that as they're reviewing the server and database, it's good to like take screenshots, because their IT systems, if you checked something today, they might patch it tomorrow, and then the information you had yesterday might have changed. So it's good to take screenshots of whatever information you think you want to maybe raise as an observation, such that you send it to, when you are raising the observation, you also attach screenshots, so that the IT team that will maybe correct these observations will know exactly where you've found the issue and what the issue is. So it's good to take screenshots on systems and all. And yeah, so basically take screenshots, ask the right questions, check. So yeah, so let me see if I can summarize it. It's almost like in 4 stages. The initial stage of the walkthrough, and then understanding the type of system the software uses, so the operating system, the database, and then finally doing an analytics of the information you got at the walkthrough stage. So yeah, so now I'm just like saying it generally, but that was what my first IT audit like assignment was. Of course, I didn't understand this as much as I understand it now, but that was what I did at first. But right now, as an IT auditor, I don't really do much of application audits. I've not done so much of application audits recently. I've been working more on like process audits, so like more overarching kind of process, not individual systems. So because I work more like almost like an external auditor, so I don't really get access to like direct organization systems and all anymore. So I kind of review on like a holistic level and based on high risk and all. And then if you notice in this video, I didn't really talk about planning, or I didn't really talk so much about reporting and all. So the focus was just to explain what I did like during the field work as a new auditor that was assigned like an application to audit. So for today, I only focused on the desktop software. So there might be some changes. So if it were like a mobile application, you might also need to maybe check like the functional part of it, just to test some of the controls like as a user. So yeah, so I've basically just focused on like the desktop software aspect. IT audit is broad, so I don't want to like bombard this video with so much information. But I believe in a way, if you kind of follow through with what I've said, you'll try to understand what an IT auditor can do, like when auditing like an application. So just, of course, there might be more things, or you might not exactly even follow the process I've mentioned, but you might maybe go through the IT team first before the walkthrough. And also, it's just about being dynamic with how you choose to do your work, but eventually it's still about like getting the best result from the audit. Yeah. So thank you for listening.